What is, oh, wrong camera. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? Little Matt O'Leary live stream on a Monday. I like it. So I was going to go live yesterday at 7 o'clock, and I ate and drank way too much. I was hanging out with the fam, and I was like, you know what? I really don't want to go live in the middle of this game. And I'm glad I didn't, because it ended up being a wild one. So we could talk about the playoffs too, if you guys want, in the comments. Make sure to throw in anything you got down below. But today, the main topic, going to be hanging out 45 minutes or so. I know my guy Ryan's in the building, Jets Talk 24/7. He's going live at 8. So we gotta hop off before he goes on. That's the main event tonight. Plus, I mean, not that everyone's going to care about it, but my New York Islanders made a massive trade. So got to do a little reactionary podcast for the side project over at Up the Turnpike. So I'm going to be busy tonight, but wanted to get in and talk about the Jets quarterback situation, because what else are we going to talk about right now? There's two main storylines that I want to get into. The first has to do with Aaron Rodgers and just, the conflicting reports where it's like some are like, no, that he's not sure if he wants to leave or not. He's probably going to stay. And then wait, no, the Packers would rather move on from him. The latest one, the big one, was a little comment from Adam Schefter yesterday where he was saying that the Packers would prefer to move on from Aaron Rodgers, which, if you think about it logically, kind of makes sense for them, because they invested in Jordan Love, a first-round pick, back in 2020. So he's now sat for 3 straight years. Obviously, you're not picking up actually, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say, obviously, you're not picking up the 5th-year option, but do you? Do you take that gamble? I would think no. My assumption would be no, they don't. Instead, have him play out the year, franchise tag him, and then maybe extend him after that if things go well, all according to plan. But I could understand why they might want to move on from Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets seem like an obvious fit because, well, they had one of the worst quarterback rooms in the league just last year. They were a team that was held back by quarterback, unfortunately. And getting a guy like Aaron Rodgers really would help this team out, who has a core of guys on their rookie deals, and they are obviously, trying to win now. That would be ideal in their eyes, I think, anyway. And then you have the other side of the coin, which I talked about earlier today, but I want to hear your guys' take on it, and we'll go through in the chat here. Jason Laconforno was saying the best the Jets could do is Derek Carr this offseason, which, one, I don't know, like, what does another NFL GM really know about what the Jets can or can't do? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't get that one at all, that argument, or that just, I don't even know what the right word is. That take, it's not really an argument. It's really the guy's opinion. Derek Carr, while obviously right now Aaron Rodgers is the bigger name, and that's the one the link that makes a lot of sense. I said in the video earlier, like, Derek Carr is not just some consolation prize. You're like, oh, this is, I guess we'll have to settle for Derek Carr. Is he Aaron Rodgers? Of course not. No, Aaron Rodgers is a different level, but Carr is somewhere in between the 12th and 15th best quarterback in the league. And he'll elevate this team because they got the 32nd worst quarterback play, or 32nd best quarterback play in the NFL this year, and won 7 games, and we're in a playoff spot until the second to last week of the year, or in the mix for a playoff spot, I guess I should say, until the second to last week of the year. So yeah, I think it's not necessarily like, if it ends up being Derek Carr, it's like, they were forced to settle. That really stinks that they had to settle for Derek Carr. No, he'll throw 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 12 picks, and the Jets probably win 11 or 12 games. Again, is it the same as Aaron Rodgers? No, but I don't think it's just nearly as bad as what some are making it out to be. And that's the part that frustrated me a little bit. But those are the two quarterbacks right now. Jimmy G is obviously going to be in the mix. I know Green Bean was talking about him earlier on his podcast today. So if you haven't seen that, check out Green Bean's pod later, where he breaks down those 3 guys as the main 3. And that kind of feels right. Like, again, these things change really quickly, but I don't even know if Jimmy feels like a distant 3. To me, it's really Carr or Rodgers right now, which seem like a fit. And I think you can make a strong case for either one of those guys. And I think the Jets would have success with either one of those guys. I get it. I love it. So let's go to the comment section now. We're going to go through. As a reminder, you can support the channel by becoming a member. You got a nice little emoji next to your name, like Yo, it's Vin has. We'll get to his comment in a second. Or you can send in the super chat if you want. Those jump the line, and we'll always bring those up right to the top. So Yo, it's Vin. He's a member of the channel. We'll get him started by saying, if we get Aaron, you think he retires in New York? Yeah, I do. I would think that if you're trading for Aaron Rodgers, it's likely for a year, maybe two. I don't think it's anything more than 2 years. And then at that point, he's probably retiring after that. I would think 2024 is probably going to be his last year in the league. Now, in a trade for Aaron Rodgers, I think you structure the trade where the first round pick is a conditional one in 2024, and the condition is that he has to play or going into that, he has to be coming back. He has to be going into that season. It's one that I think would make sense. But yes, it's Vin. I think if you are trading for him, I don't think he's going to play somewhere else after that. I don't think it's going to be a Brett Favre where he played 1 year with the Jets and then finished his career in Minnesota somewhere else. I think it would be, hopefully in his case, ride out in the sunset after a Super Bowl win. That'd be pretty damn nice. Twisted's in here. He says, I'm not all that excited about the Aaron talk. I believe his best days are behind him. He was not as good. He wasn't his normal self this year. That is fair. He played most of the year with a broken thumb, so I think you have to give him some credit for that, or just put some context into that when you're talking about the season that he had. He was an MVP the 2 years prior, though. So I don't think it's going to be really that big of a potential drop-off. Let's see what else we got in here. Nick says Carr gets us to the playoffs for the next 5 to 6 years. Once you get in, anything could happen. That is potentially true. I mean, yes, I would think that he gets them into the playoff mix. I don't know if he has 6 years left. He may have very well play until he's 38 years old. But that could also maybe just be a 4-ish year window with him. I'm not anti-Derek Carr. I'd be fine with either of those options, which I think is the main point that I wanted to get out. I'm more curious to see what you guys think on the topic. And I'll talk through, any scenario you want at the quarterback position. But I don't think it would be some, abject failure if they come away with Derek Carr. And if Rodgers goes somewhere else or just retires, that's it. Jack Talks Jets is hanging out with us. What's up, man? He says, who you want in the Super Bowl? I want the Chiefs. Yeah, I think I want the Chiefs as well. I don't hate the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, the Giants are their rivals, but I'm not a big city of Philadelphia fan, I guess, because, Phillies are a rival of one of my teams. The Flyers are a rival of one of my teams. Plus, they won the Super Bowl in 2017. I really like Mahomes. I know that a lot of people kind of get tired of all the Mahomes love, and I get it, but he's just so fun to watch. And also, Andy Reid as the Chiefs coach beating the Philadelphia Eagles would also be pretty hilarious. Weeb Eubank is hanging out here. What's up? Says Brady 49ers, Rodgers going to stay in Green Bay one more year, Garoppolo, Raiders, Minshew. It's not going to be a Minshew. I really hope it ain't going to be Minshew. Weave says Carr's going to Carolina to join Reich's ministry. That would be pretty brutal if that's the case. I would, if everyone else is going, so where is it? Brady to the 49ers, Rodgers going to stay in Green Bay, Garoppolo to the Raiders, and Carr to Carolina. That's a disaster scenario, but I would maybe Tannehill, something like that. That's tough. Sergeant CVO, good point. He says when he retires, he'll probably have a one-day contract with Green Bay. That's true. I don't think he would go to play anywhere else, I guess, is the main point. Rob says, I'm tired of the Rodgers talk already. Please, JD, let's wrap up Carr in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, because you would know by 3 days after the Super Bowl, right? If that was happening or not. So that could potentially happen sooner, but who knows? Maybe they trade for, Aaron Rodgers. The Matthew Stafford trade got announced at the end of January. There's been trades that have been announced at the end of January, early February. I would like for it to get done because I don't want it to be a talking point all off season. Plus, you once you go into free agency in March, don't you want to know what the plan at quarterback is at that point to sell potential free agents on? Zach says, hang on, that's a good one. He says, if the Eagles win, they will destroy the city. If they lose, they will destroy the city. That feels like a fact. Indy says, if Rodgers even hints at it playing the game of retire, not retire, it has to be Carr. Give Green Bay the next 2 weeks or no deal. Okay. That's fair. I get that. It would kind of be it would kind of stink, right? If you're like, oh, we're going all in on Rodgers, and then Rodgers ends up retiring, and then you miss out on Carr. That's the fear. That is a legitimate fear. I think you have a good point there. Harry W, what's up, man? He's a member of the channel. Shout out Harry. He's a real one. Says, if we get Carr, do we trade Zach? Versus if we get Carr, do we keep Zach? I don't think that necessarily changes the plan. I think that absolutely could. They could continue to keep Zach Wilson in either circumstance, in either one, whether they keep Carr or whether they Aaron Rodgers. I think that's fine too. Either one of those, I think, would be okay. Jack says, off topic, but what do you think of Tua? Should he retire or play? He should retire for his health. I feel bad with all the concussions, man. That's not an easy thing. It's really, really not an easy thing. You're right. It has to be something that you keep in mind is your long-term health. After suffering that many concussions, it's scary. He might be better off trying to, retiring for his own health. But the Dolphins seem like they are very in on Tua for 2023. T. Rivera says, Matt, what are we even talking about? It's a no-brainer. I mean, no one within our division wants to see Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. And we're not done there. We get Aaron. We could possibly bring Lazard, maybe Hopkins. Okay, I really like Alan Lazard because I think he'd be a really good fit for this team. Hopkins, I worry about a little bit because of age, and he's missed a ton of time over the last few years with injuries and suspensions. Lazard fits. They need a big body wide receiver. They also need a wide receiver who can block in this scheme. He does both of those things. He really does. John says, trade for Rodgers, let Zach Wilson sit on ice for 2 years. Oh, God, here we go. Sign Darnold to a 2-year healthy contract to be Rodgers' backup. Year 3, Rodgers retire, and either Darnold or Wilson starts in 2025. Anything to get your guy Darnold in there, huh, John? That's great. What else we got? Sergeant CVO says, are the rumors about teams not being able to talk about trades until today true? I don't think that's the case. Why today would be the cutoff? I don't buy that. I don't think that's a true rumor. Edgar says Carr for 4 years, Mike White as QB2. I think I like Mike White as a QB2. I think that makes sense. Stevens pumping up his Devils, making moves, still ain't making the playoffs. Well, they got a better shot at making the playoffs now after that trade. Yeah, I'll give you that. Jack talks Jets with the schedule out now. What's your record prediction if we get Rodgers? It really is dependent on what else happens, but I think you got to be thinking at least like in that 11 win mark, somewhere around then. I would hope that he elevates them by about 4 games. No, Socrates, I said I'm getting off by 8 o'clock. I just want to hang for 45 minutes. He goes on at 8 o'clock. He's not on right now. Oreo says, let's say the Jets don't get anyone. Would you be upset if they send a second for Fields? They pick up the best O-line and Lazard and free agent, you use first on O-line. You know what? I really don't think they are going to trade Justin Fields. That would be really tough to sell. Like, hey, we could have drafted him second overall and now we're giving up a pick for him. I would also think the Bears would want more than a second. I think they would want a first round if they were going to do that. Joe S says, you honestly believe Carr is going to go into Arrowhead and beat Mahomes? I think he can in a good set of circumstances. I mean, obviously it makes your life a little bit easier if you have an elite level quarterback, but you can win with very good quarterback play in the playoffs. I mean, we saw it's really not that long ago that in 2018, Nick Foles led a team to a Super Bowl. You had the corpse of Peyton Manning in 2015. You had Joe Flacco win a Super Bowl MVP in 2012. Eli Manning in 2011 had a ton of interceptions, and I wouldn't classify as this top 5 quarterback at that time. There's opportunities where you could win games because of other external factors. Carr is a good to he's a good quarterback. He's good. Is he elite? No, but he's good. Yo, it's Vince says if we keep Zach long term, can we trade his mom? Yeah, you know what? I will say I will take Zach Wilson's mom over the Mahomes' brother and wife, and also having to try to defend Eli Apple on my team in social media. So it could be worse, I guess, is the point. B-Man says, you hear the guy on the Ringer saying Aaron Rodgers is a done deal? No, I did not hear that, but that'd be cool. I like that. At what point can you safely say you're out on Becton? Out on Becton is an interesting one. I don't think you could rely on him as your plan A for being a starter going into this year. I don't think he's going to go anywhere because he's under contract and he has no trade value. You don't pick up his 5th-year option. If he's hurt again this year and it doesn't really do anything for you, then you just let him leave in free agency after the year and you're done. I think that's the way you play it. Show Belodi, I think. I don't know. Sorry if I butchered that. I very well could have. Am I crazy? But is there a world where we get DeAndre Hopkins and Rodgers? Would seal the deal for him coming here, I believe. It would cost you a ton to do that, to get both those guys in here. I would worry about what your plan is for improving other areas of the roster. I don't think I'd want to spend that much on wide receiver at this point. Sergeant CVO says 2026 Arch Manning to the Jets. Let's go. Oreo says if Jets miss playoffs, are we restarting over in 2024? New staff and management. Also, not sure if you touched on it, but Quinn Williams tweet about no offense. Is that real? Was that a real tweet? I guess I'm going to assume that it's a real tweet. I would prefer him not say it. He deleted it pretty quickly. Is he wrong? Not necessarily, but would prefer him not to say that. He's not. It was stupid. It was stupid. Is it enough for me to say good riddance, goodbye, get out of here? No, but I prefer you don't do that. And he took it down, so it's fine. Oh, there we go. Balati, but close enough. Thanks, man. That's great. Sorry about that. Shoo07. If we miss out on Rodgers, Carr, and Jimmy G, is there a situation where we overpay for Lamar or trade up in the draft, take Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, even while on rookies they can be best quarterbacks for a Super Bowl run? It's a major gamble if you're doing that. If you're trading up the assets to go get another guy, because you'd have to assume that he's coming in on a learning curve. It's rare that these guys come in, pop right away as a rookie. A rookie quarterback has never started a game in the Super Bowl. So you're kind of pushing that into, I would assume, 2024 and 25. Can they be a playoff team with a rookie? Yeah, probably. It's a massive gamble, though. And I think I would just prefer to go to the veteran route after they took some swings in the top 5 and had that miss. Sergeant CVO says, Q's agent lit him up for that. Yeah, he probably wasn't too happy with that one. PJ says, love Randall Cobb or Corey Davis. I would prefer Alan Lazard if you're going with any of the Green Bay wide receivers. Randall Cobb is more of a slot guy, no? Isn't he a little bit on the smaller side? I could be mistaken. Please tell me if I'm wrong. He's also a little older. He's 32 years old. Yeah, he's 5'10", 195. I think he's a little bit small. I think they would be better off going for a bigger body receiver, a red zone threat, big blocker, someone like that. Zach says, the problem with some Jets fans is they are just using the losing all the time. They're just used to, losing all the time. So when we get a chance to get someone like Aaron, they make excuses about why we shouldn't get him. Fair. I think there are some like legitimate concerns that you could have, but I wouldn't go. I don't know if I'd go that far. I'm not upset if the Jets bring in Rodgers, though. So I guess I don't have to worry about that, but some will be. Some will be. And they're cynical ones. Sean G says, it sucks we're in this quarterback situation to have to pivot from the plan. Yeah, the plan was that your number 2 pick would take a step in year 2 and look like a guy in year 3, 4, 5 where you can, win with this core. That hasn't been the case. Kevin 2001 joined us. What's going on? Says, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Excited. My favorite hockey team made a good trade today. They landed a good goal scorer. And I'm talking Jets football with you guys. What's better than that? Also, by the way, I know I'm gonna get lit up for this, but I borrowed my girlfriend's water bottle because she's gonna get me one in black or gray. I like more neutral things. This is light green and pink. But if you or any of your lady friends use the Stanley water bottles, they are so legit. Has a nice little handle and a straw too. Look at this. That is peak water consumption. I don't care that it's like green and pink. We're making it work in the time being until the black or the gray comes back in stock. Then we're snatching one of those guys. They're legit. No, and they're not a sponsor too, by the way. That is just a genuine take from me. Let's see. Wild Wave says, would you be mad if we go defense in the first round, Brian Breesy, Brian Branch, something like that? I would get it. My fear would be, what is the plan at offensive tackle at that point? That's a big fear. That would be a big fear of mine if we're being completely honest with you. Free agency will be challenging with a $50 million quarterback. Duncan, my friend, that is not his cap hit. His cap hit is $15 million in 2023, and it would be 32 in 2024, so it would be nowhere near $50 million. Alex says, Matt, how big of a loss would it be to lose Quincy Williams? I prefer Kwan over Quincy anyway, but I think they're going to bring back Quincy to keep his brother Quinnen happy. Jacob, what's up? He says, hey, Matt, Jacob from Iowa. How's it going, man? Only Bands wants a live mock. No, that's Green Bean's forte. He's going to do the live mock, 10 o'clock mock. I would imagine he's doing the 10 o'clock mock tonight. I don't see why he wouldn't. I'm only on for about another 20 minutes or so. Then I'm going to hop off. I know Ryan's coming on at 8. So there we go. John Perez comes in with the super chat. John, thank you very much. Appreciate the support from you as always, my friend. The refs were bad yesterday, and all year, basically, refs were bad, especially for the Jets all year, not getting calls or unnecessary calls. That is so true. The stat that is so mind-boggling to me is that the Jets did not get one single roughing the passer call, like for their own quarterback. Sure, their defense got them, but not Zach, not Mike White, not Joe Flacco, not one roughing the passer. Garrett Wilson late hit out of bounds. The referee situation has to change in the NFL. They got to get full-time refs and have like a training, keep them all in shape. They should all be looking like Ed Hockley out there. It's ridiculous. It's 2023 in the NFL. These same mistakes can't be happening. They have to be held accountable because they got away with way too much. You're right. You're 100% right, John Perez. And again, thank you for the support there. Non-football Q. What's your favorite movie? Ryan said Tommy Boy, Super Trooper, and Super Bad as top 3. Man, that is a tough one, yo. It's Vin. Um, God, I really like. Remember the Titans is so high on my list. I also like garbage movies. Like I'm a big Fast and the Furious fan. That was not my number one movie though. Godfather's cliche, but that's got to be up there. Um, Goodfellas has to be up there. Forrest Gump, maybe Forrest Gump. I might go Forrest Gump. Also, Toy Story, huge Toy Story fan. So we're gonna say those are some of my favorite movies off the top of my head. There you go. Jonathan says, "What would be your ideal Rodgers trade package?" Good answer or good question. A second round pick this year, conditional first round pick next year, with the condition being that he's coming back to play in 2024. Sergeant CBO. The quarterback combo is cool and all, but who's our punter? Don't know yet. Need it. Chris, what's going on, man? Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate the support. He goes, thank you for the thoughtful, logical discussion. I appreciate that, Chris. Happy to hop on here and talk New York Jets football with you guys. I try to keep my head on straight. It's not always easy as a Jet fan. You guys know. It's so easy to get swept up into everything or swept up into anything. It ain't easy, man. But I appreciate the support, Chris. You're a real one. Jack Talks Jets, your favorite uni combo. To be honest, I'm tired of the white on black. The white on white is my favorite one. Really, from like the Rex Ryan era is really my favorite. But even with this uniform combo, it's the white on the white. That is my favorite uniform combination for a lot of the teams. I do like the green on the white more than a lot of people do. The all black uniform is really cool. So I'd probably go the white on white one, the all black two, and then the green on white would be number 3. Ooh, we're getting a lot of good movies in here. Weeb says Rudy. I like that one. Joe S says the 80s uniform. I really love that. Joe says I'm actually legit in Remember the Time. Are you really? Is this a joke? I like that. Sergeant CVO says get a gray uniform and change the logo to a fighter jet. I'm cool. I'm interested to see a concept of that because I think that could look cool if done right. You got to have green in there though. The Jets are green and white, maybe some gray accents. Andrew says, who are we cutting and restructuring to make room in cap space? Corey Davis feels like he's as good as gone, right? I feel like we've seen so many different guys come in and say that Corey Davis is going to get cut. Carl Lawson could free up $15 million if you cut him. That would also create opportunities for Bryce Huff, Michael Clemens, Jermaine Johnson to get more reps. You could see a world where that happens. CJ Mosley can't play on his contract. He's going to get $21 million or his cap hit will be $21 million. So I think he's a restructure candidate. Jordan Whitehead's a cut candidate at $7 million. Who else? Braden Mann's like $1 million. I like it. PJ says, very good cap analysis yesterday. Both you and Ryan had me understanding the Aaron Rodgers potential cap deal. Yeah, that's I think that's important to keep in mind because you have to really take that into account when you're getting these guys. Because in a vacuum, sure, getting a guy like Aaron Rodgers would be tremendous, but also at the same time, you have to know what it's going to cost and how what flexibility you have after that. So it is. That is tremendous. I love that. I love that you're in it. Duncan says, what concerned about Carr's capabilities in the cold weather? Not really. I think I've said in my video either yesterday or today. I don't remember. I do too many of these videos. That I think Carr would be able to adjust or his body would adjust a little bit. But, he's a guy who's been in warm weather places and then going from playing in, 60, 70 degrees to 30 is a major drop off. If he's used to it and he's practicing in that, I think he'll end up being. Joe Flacco should have played more than he did. Ew. Gross. No, William. Less Joe Flacco. The less Joe Flacco, the better. Tyler says, what's your take on the jerseys and logo? Love the video. I think they're okay. I don't love the current jerseys. I think they're fine. I don't like the logo though. I really don't. Adding the New York in, it's just that does not look good. I don't like when it's the New York on the chest too. I think that's kind of gross. I think they're okay, but they could probably use a rebrand. Schluck says, I hope we don't re-sign Mike White. Okay. Chris Murphy says, over the cap, Jason Fitzgerald has a nearly 3-hour podcast on Rodgers' trade to Jets if anyone has insomnia tonight. Oh, no way. Okay, might have to go and find that. Might have to go and find that one. Zach says, bring back the 90s logo. I like this guy. Well, I mean, that's kind of this. I should talk into Mike. That's kind of the same, but this one over here, can you see it from this angle? No. But I like it with the green and the white from the 80s more than the green and the black from like the mid 90s. It's Snoopy says, Packers fans want Corey. We can include him in the Rodgers package. Yeah, if they want him, sure. Go ahead, please. We need Florida says we need Aaron Rodgers to have a stipulation where if he were to come here, we would make over the uniform. So kind of like when Brady went down to Tampa, I guess. Yeah, Yoetz Vin is asking Chode, were you an extra or you have lines? I need to know. I'm gonna have to Google Chode, remember the Titans, and see if anything comes up. Kevin01 says, when do the Raiders have to cut Derek Carr? 3 days after the Super Bowl. So by February 15th, we'll be able to know. Good one for Michael says, love the joint shows. Can we expect any in the near future with Tyson from Talking Jets or Jake Asman? We have the best YouTubers. You guys are great. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I would love to collaborate with them. I got to make more of an effort to get these guys on. Jake Asman does good stuff. We're all busy, unfortunately. But I would love to get those guys on. I think Tyson is great. I've been on his channel before. I think he's come on with me on here before, but if not, we definitely got to get him on. And I've been on with Jake, and Jake's come on here a couple of times. Both great guys and some of the best content creators. As a Jets fan myself who consumes Jets content, I watch these guys too. It's great. It's awesome. Saxons don't Google Chode. But what if I want to? Tyler says, I think Rodgers goes for a 2 and a conditional 1. Condition is he plays in 2024. We're on the same page there. And we take JSN at 13. I want another weapon at wide receiver. See, you had me in the first half. You had me going in the first half. In the second half, not as much. I think it has to be an offensive tackle, one of Skoronski, Broderick Jones, or Paris Johnson. Jack Talks Jets says, I like the new unis, but the old brings the nostalgia. Yep. It's Vin wants to see more with Jet Central. We can get him on. We could do that. Snoopy says, I wouldn't care if our logo's a cheese doodle. I just want a quarterback and a Super Bowl. Is that really too much to ask, right? Can't the Jets have a Super Bowl? There we go. Uncredited extra. They filmed it at my school. That is awesome. That is a great story. Iconic movie. And you could say, hey, I was in Remember the Titans. You're good friends. I took that as you're great friends with Ryan Gosling and Denzel Washington. That's how I took it. Tom Smith said, maybe late to the show, but The Hunt for Red October is a great movie. I like that. If not left tackle in the first, tackle from Tennessee sounds good. Yeah, he would probably go in the second round, right? I would think from most of the rankings, I feel like that's a guy who should probably go in the second. I agree from this one with Sergeant CVO. As long as we don't have the Browns logo, we'll be okay. That is such a lazy logo. It's just their helmet, man. That's so lame. Even the elf looks weird. I don't like that Browns elf. Bob says, if the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, who do you think would be the Packers quarterback? Jordan Love. I think they want to see Jordan Love. That's why I think they want to move on from him. They want to see what they got in this guy. Rico the Pup. What's up, Rico the Pup? Says the gap between the top OTs and those that can go in the second round isn't that huge. I'm all for getting a weapon when the first. Quentin Johnson, the first would be a backbreaker for opposing defenses. Okay. I'm not as sold on that, but you could make a case for it. Chris Murphy says the football gods are clearly angry with the 49ers. Maybe does that mean they'll leave the Jets alone? I hope that's the case. I'm so tired of all the injuries, all the nonsense. Why isn't there more talk about Michael Mayer to the Jet? Right? That's who M. Mayer is, right? Would be a good fit. Can block, catch the ball. Would allow us to cut Uzama. Not really. That's a major. They can't get out of either of those Uzama or Conklin contracts this year with how they're structured. You can get out of them after the season, but that's going to be a pass. Favorite Jets season in the last 5 years? 2020, 21, 20, 19, 18. I guess this past one? I think 2022. Weave says draft Jake Haener in the 6th round, quarterback, Fresno State. I like him or Clayton Tune as potential late round developmental guys. They could play. What else we got? QT Monty FN. I think if we are able to get Bakhtiari, I think JSN or Johnson at 13 would be ridiculous. Problem with Bakhtiari, right? He's played in 2022, 11 games, 2021, 1 game, 2020, 12 games. So he's missed time each of the last 3 years and is on the wrong side of 30. So that scares me slightly. The last thing the Jets need is another injury-prone tackle. Andrew with a good suggestion here for the uniforms. Remove the New York in the center of the jersey and add a fighter jet front profile there. That'd be cool. Do you think Stetson Bennett will get drafted by the Packers? I don't know if he'll be drafted by the Packers. He's going to go late. He's going to be a day 3 guy, I'd imagine. Yeah, Jerry Red says, who remembers Revis Island? And then we got PG coming in saying Revis and Moss. Great matchup. Revis versus Ocho Cinco, another good one. There's nothing like 2009, 2010 era Darrelle Revis, man. Best ever do it. I loved it. I have time for a couple more, so get a few more questions in here. Then I'm going to bounce out. It's fun hanging out with you guys. I love talking ball with you. New York Jets football. Some good memories from the New York Jets time. Bob says, I'm a Vikings fan, so I would have to go to a game. Okay. Did not know that you were a Vikings fan there, Bob. But I think my guess would be Jordan Love is going to be the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers next year. Yo, it's Vince says Stetson Bennett just got arrested. He did yesterday. Public intoxication, no? Andrew says, hit the like. It's free. Amen. Ethan G, Sauce commercial going to be fire. I can't wait to see the Sauce Gardner commercial. I think that's going to be epic. Guy's a legend already. Great player on the field. Very easy to market and root for off the field. Rico says, any players you really got your eye on in free agency at the price is right? CJ Gardner-Johnson would replace Joyner. Yeah, a few that I've talked about that I like in free agency. That's one, Gardner-Johnson. Hoyer's an interesting one, a little bit older. I like if Julian Love shakes free from the Giants, I would like to go after him. I think he's a good playmaker. Alan Lazard's a guy that makes a ton of sense. From there, maybe like retaining some of your guys. Like at center, are you going outside to retain a center, or are you just or to get a center, or are you just going to retain McGovern? I think at that point you might just retain McGovern. Cynic says, do you think the Patriots will make a big move for a wide receiver like D-Hop? I don't think DeAndre Hopkins wants to go back with Bill O'Brien, so I don't think you have to worry about that. Jacob says, public intoxication. Stokey did that 1,000 times and makes millions. You also got arrested for public intoxication, pretty sure. Edgar says, I think everyone's sleeping on Carr with this defense and the weapons on the offense. He can probably take us farther than we think. There we go. Should we still draft a quarterback even if it's a late round? Maybe. It depends on how the board breaks, but I'm not opposed to it. Taking a quarterback in like the 4th or 5th round, somewhere around there. Nick H says, I really want to re-sign Quan Alexander. He was on the field. He made plays this year. I liked him a lot too. AVT hasn't played center yet with the eyes emoji. Oh, God. Bob says, I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide fan. Can I get a Roll Tide? No, you can't. If we don't retain White because someone overpays him, I'm all for the late round quarterback. Okay. And then let's close out with Ethan G. This is the last comment that I saw that popped up. And then we'll close out here. It says, what do you honestly think the odds are that Zach turns it around and figures it out? 10%, 15%, maybe something like that. Don't know. Doesn't look too pretty, but that's going to do it for me tonight. Thank you guys. Ryan's coming on at 8 o'clock, Green Bean later for the 10 o'clock mock. Just wanted to get my thoughts out, hang out with you guys. Missed you. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll talk to you next time. Go Jets.